Are you struggling to pass the CPA exam? Did your review course fail to fit your learning style? I'm Darius Clark of I-75 CPA Review, the #1 course supplement, where the right teacher makes all the difference. All right, what do we have to know about inventory errors? Any question they ask about inventory errors comes down to the relationship between inventory and cost of goods sold. You may have learned the cost of goods sold formula. So let's review that formula. Beginning inventory plus purchases equals total goods available for sale. You can never sell more than what you started with plus what you purchased. So if total available for sale is 10, because beginning inventory was 0 and purchases are 10, then all you need to do is count how many goods are left at the end. So if 6 are left at the end and a total available for sale was 10, then cost of what was sold must be 4. And we call the 4 cost of goods sold. And how do we get that? Beginning inventory plus purchases equals total available for sale. Subtract what's still there at the end, and that's the cost of what was sold. And now we can determine if we made any profit, because if the cost of goods sold was $4 and sales are $20, then the profit, gross profit, is said to be 16. The higher the cost of goods sold, the lower the gross profit. Note the inverse relationship between cost of goods sold and gross profit. If sales are 20 and cost of goods sold is 4, then gross profit is 16. But we said the higher the cost of goods sold, the lower the gross profit. So if cost of goods sold was suddenly 5, then gross profit would only be 15 instead of 16. So note that there's an inverse relationship between cost of goods sold and gross profit. Do you see another inverse relationship here? You probably noticed one earlier. Note how ending inventory and cost of goods sold have an inverse relationship. We said available for sale is 10, ending inventory is 6, meaning that cost of goods sold is 4. Well, if ending inventory, instead of being 6, if it was $7, then cost of goods sold would be $3. There's an inverse relationship between ending inventory and cost of goods sold. As ending inventory goes up, cost of goods sold goes down. And hey, as cost of goods sold goes down, gross profit goes up. So maybe you notice that there's also a direct relationship here between what? Ending inventory and gross profit. Because if ending inventory was 7 instead of 6, cost of goods sold would be 3 instead of 4. And then gross profit would be 17 instead of 16, assuming sales are constant at 20. So it's very important to understand the relationships in the cost of goods sold formula. The idea that there's an inverse relationship between cost of goods sold and gross profit, and there's an inverse relationship between ending inventory and cost of goods sold. There's also a direct relationship to recognize between ending inventory and gross profit. And that's because as ending inventory goes up, cost of goods sold goes down, and that makes gross profit go up. So we're going to start our conversation about inventory errors with these numbers that we've been using. And yes, there's dollar signs in front of every single one. So that means if beginning inventory is $0 and purchases are 10, then there's $10 available for sale. If ending inventory is worth $6 at cost, then the cost of what was sold must be $4. Now, if sales were a $20 price retail, right, if we took in $20 to sell our goods, then our gross profit on sales is the sale price of 20 minus cost of goods sold of 4, or a gross profit of 16. Now, all of this is assuming that ending inventory is correctly stated at $6, because if ending inventory is correctly stated at 6, then cost of goods sold is correctly stated at 4. And if cost of goods sold is correct at 4, then gross profit must be 16, assuming sales are 20. Now that's before any errors, right? Now let's bring in the errors. So here's the correct column, the first column. Just what we've been using, where gross profit's 16 because cost of goods sold is 4, and that's because available for sale is 10 and ending inventory is 6. So the first column is all based on correctly stated figures, no errors. But if ending inventory is overstated by just $1, watch what happens to cost of goods sold and gross profit. We're going to take ending inventory and overstate it. Means it's an error. It's too high by $1. So ending inventory is going to be 7 instead of 6. As a result, cost of goods sold is $3 instead of $4. And as a result of that, assuming sales are still 20, gross profit is overstated by $1 at 17. And let's see if ending inventory and cost of goods sold still have that inverse relationship that we expect. So available for sale is still 10, but we're overstating ending inventory by $1. And look what that does to cost of goods sold. It understates cost of goods sold by $1. And look what happens to gross profit. It overstates gross profit by $1 because ending inventory and gross profit have a direct relationship. As ending inventory goes, so goes gross profit. Companies know that the easiest way to manipulate their profit is to overstate their inventory. If they overstate inventory, they overstate profit. Why? Because it makes cost of goods sold go down. And all we did here to overstate gross profit by 1 was to overstate ending inventory by 1. And all the relationships that we expected still exist. The idea that gross profit and ending inventory have a direct relationship. As ending inventory goes up, gross profit goes up. And ending inventory and cost of goods sold have an inverse relationship. As ending inventory goes up, cost of goods sold goes down. And cost of goods sold and gross profit have an inverse relationship. Notice as cost of goods sold falls from 4 down to 3, gross profit goes up from 16 up to 17. All right, let's try this one. The relationship between ending inventory and A, cost of goods sold is direct. Is the relationship direct between ending inventory and cost of goods sold? No, it's inverse. As ending inventory goes up, cost of goods sold goes down. That's not direct, that's inverse. A's out. Let's try B. The relationship between ending inventory and gross profit is inverse. As ending inventory goes up, gross profit goes down. No. The relationship between ending inventory and gross profit is direct, so B's out. C, the relationship between ending inventory and cost of goods sold is inverse. Yes, let's go with C. So the answer is C because the relationship between ending inventory and cost of goods sold is inverse. Ending inventory higher, cost of goods sold lower. If ending inventory is overstated, cost of goods sold is understated. And what would that do to gross profit? Gross profit would be overstated. The relationship between cost of goods sold and A, gross profit, is direct? No. The relationship between cost of goods sold and gross profit is inverse. A is out. B, gross profit is inverse? Yes, that says it best because the relationship between cost of goods sold and gross profit is inverse. If cost of goods sold is overstated, gross profit's going to be understated. B looks good. How about C? Relationship between cost of goods sold and ending inventory is direct? No, it's inverse. Cost of goods sold up, ending inventory down. Letter B is the correct answer. The exam's going to test you on these relationships. The relationship between cost of goods sold and gross profit is inverse. As cost of goods sold increases, gross profit decreases. If cost of goods sold is overstated, gross profit's understated. Ending inventory has a direct relationship with which of the following? Would it be gross profit? Yes. As ending inventory goes, so goes gross profit. If a company wants to show less profit, all they got to do is show less ending inventory. So letter A looks good. How about B? Ending inventory, does it have a direct relationship with cost of goods sold? No. Ending inventory has a direct relationship with gross profit, an inverse relationship with cost of goods sold. All right, first we walked, then we walked a little faster. Now we're going to run. This is a little more sophisticated a question, the kind of question I think you're going to see on the exam. If ending inventory is overstated by $5,000, A, cost of goods sold is overstated. If ending inventory is overstated, could cost of goods sold be overstated? No. So A and B are out. Helps to know the basics, right? Let's go to C. Cost of goods sold is understated by 5,000 because there's that inverse relationship between ending inventory and cost of goods sold. Okay, I'm good with you there. And gross profit is understated by 5,000. Well, wait a minute. Ending inventory has a direct relationship with gross profit. So if ending inventory is overstated by 5,000, gross profit has to be overstated by 5,000 also because they have a direct relationship. So C is out. The answer must be letter D. So be ready for a question just like this. All right, let's try this one. If ending inventory is understated by 12,000, okay, ending inventory understated, the first thing we know is that cost of goods sold has to be overstated. So A and B are looking good. C and D have to be wrong. A says cost of goods sold is overstated by 12,000. That's right because ending inventory is understated by 12. And gross profit is understated by 12,000. Yes, because ending inventory and gross profit have a direct relationship. So if ending inventory is understated by 12, gross profit's going to be understated by 12. Letter A looks great. B is wrong because even though cost of goods sold is overstated by 12, B says gross profit's overstated. No. Gross profit would go the same way as ending inventory, both understated. So let's go with A. All right, which of these is correct? A says ending inventory has an inverse relationship with cost of goods sold. We know that's true. B, beginning inventory has a direct relationship with cost of goods sold. What about beginning inventory? Well, we know it has an opposite relationship with ending inventory. Right? Beginning inventory and ending inventory are opposites. And ending inventory has an inverse relationship with cost of goods sold. Therefore, beginning inventory is going to have a direct relationship with cost of goods sold. And that's what letter B is saying. Beginning inventory has a direct relationship with cost of goods sold, and that's correct. So both of these are correct. Let's go with C. Because beginning inventory has a direct relationship with cost of goods sold, ending inventory and beginning inventory are opposites, so if ending inventory has an inverse relationship with cost of goods sold, and we know that it does, then beginning inventory has to have a direct relationship with cost of goods sold. If beginning inventory is overstated, cost of goods sold is going to be overstated also. All right, first we walked, then we walked a little faster, then we ran. Now we're going to do some backflips when it comes to this stuff. This question is about the toughest one you could possibly get. If ending inventory is overstated by 7,000 and beginning inventory is understated by 5,000, cost of goods sold is what? And we got to do it one part at a time. They tell us ending inventory is overstated by 7,000. What does that do to cost of goods sold? Ending inventory and cost of goods sold have an inverse relationship. So that means cost of goods sold is so far understated by 7,000. Now let's look at beginning inventory. Beginning inventory is understated by 5,000. And we said that beginning inventory has a direct relationship with cost of goods sold. So now cost of goods sold must be understated by an additional 5,000, which makes cost of goods sold understated by 12,000. The answer is C. All right, let's try this one. If ending inventory is overstated by 3,000 and beginning inventory is overstated by 9,000, cost of goods sold is what? And if you think you know, leave me the answer in the comments section. And then don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps the channel out a lot. And if you need more help with inventory errors or any part of the CPA exam, go to cpaexamtutoring.com. Get yourself on I-75, where the right teacher makes all the difference. Get on I-75 with me, Darius Clark, and be home soon.